What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Welcome back to another Post-Gazette Steelers training camp practice update. Day 4 just wrapped up here at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. I'm Brian Batko, joined by my fellow beat writer, Ray Fittipaldo. As always, these updates are brought to you by Savinas, Kane, and Gallucci, Pittsburgh's mesothelioma and asbestos lawyers with over 85 years of experience in the industry. You hope you'll never need them. If you do, get your free consultation. Visit sdklaw.com and they will make a commitment to you and your family that you deserve. Ray, where do you want to start today? Mike Tomlin was in a pretty good mood talking after practice. It's the last day of this first week, and then when we reconvene here in Latrobe on Tuesday, they'll have the pads on, but still one day for guys to stand up and get noticed here in the early going.
Yeah, I think wrapping up the final of 4 acclimation practices, I think Mike Tomlin and all the players are looking forward to Tuesday. That's when the quote-unquote real football begins. So it's not that they didn't get anything out of this work this week, but this is just a necessary evil with the CBA. They want to be safe, get these guys in condition, and then when they return on Tuesday after an off day Monday, it's going to be go time.
Well, one nugget that we picked up on today, and I guess we can start with a newsy item. Broderick Jones, the team's starting left tackle, didn't work much today. He was dealing with some sort of soft tissue issue, according to Tomlin. I saw him getting some treatment on probably a hamstring or something after the team went through their walkthrough and individual drills. But it's not so much about whether Jones will miss time, Ray. It's more that the leader in the clubhouse right now for that swing tackle role is not Calvin Anderson, the veteran who was brought back on, I think, a 2-year deal this offseason after finishing the 2024 campaign with the Steelers. It's Dylan Cook, who was on IR all of last season. He's a little bit bigger body. He's got an interesting backstory, a converted quarterback from college. And Mike Tomlin said don't read too much into that, but at least for now, he was the first man up there.
Yeah, and I think before he went on IR last year, I think they had plans for Dylan Cook to make the 53-man roster last year. He's a big guy. He's athletic, as you mentioned. He played quarterback in college.
And he's been playing right tackle with the second team.
Right. So, I mean, that's the important distinction, right? If you're going to be a backup tackle, you got to be able to play on both sides. Anderson did it last year. He was the de facto swing tackle after Troy Falatanu went down with that injury. But, it looks like Dylan's going to get at least a shot to prove that he could beat out Anderson.
Or Jones will be back on Tuesday. Who knows? We'll see. A couple other injury notes, more minor relative to contributors on this team. But if you're watching the undrafted free agents, Montana Lamonius Craig, wide receiver from Arizona, had soft tissue. And the bigger one, it seemed to us, Ray, I know you were standing right there on the sideline when it happened, was undrafted tight end fullback DJ Thomas Jones from South Alabama. He was one of their priority free agents, and it looked like it was a lower leg, foot, ankle. You hope it's not that dreaded Achilles, but they took him off on a cart.
Yeah, and I don't think it's ever a good sign when they have to cut your tennis shoe off to get a better look at your injury. He couldn't even take his shoe off. It was that painful. So, Mike Tomlin said it looks like it's going to be longer term, and it's unfortunate for DJ. As you mentioned, he was one of their priority free agents, and looks like he's going to be on the shelf for a while.
Yeah, I had a pretty good look at him as he was riding off there on the sideline, and he looked pretty down. So you hate to see that on day 4 before he even gets a chance to let his pads do the talking. Right. He's a physical, versatile player and might not get that opportunity now.
And one note on that, another undrafted free agent among the tight ends who has flashed a little bit is number 87, J.J. Galbreth. I think he's been noticeable. To me, at least, he's a big guy. He can run, and he's showed pretty good hands too.
Yeah. So if there's a trickle-down effect, maybe that's good for him in terms of whatever his chances are of making the roster or the practice squad, for that matter. The pads do go on Tuesday. Oh, you know what? Before we get to that, Yahya Black. While we're on the rookie topic, there's not much that interior linemen, offensive or defense, can do when you're in your shells, but Yahya Black found a way today with a couple tipped passes, both on Mason Rudolph, I believe. He's 6'6", 340. Mike Tomlin called him an F350 on draft day. He blocks out the sun, and he's blocking some throwing lanes today. Mike Tomlin didn't brush off your question about him.
Yeah, I mean, it's something obviously that the Steelers do very well, and they stress it. If you can't get to the quarterback, if you're blocked, get your eyes on the quarterback and try to get your hands up to block it. And Cam Hayward, Tomlin said, led all NFL players last year in passes batted down. He said Keanu Benton was among the league leaders. And it looks like, at least early, Yahya Black is very efficient at doing that as well. And I guess that was part of his skill set at Iowa. He said that they saw that on tape in college, and obviously we're seeing out there on the practice field now.
And one of the knocks on Black coming out was that he might not usually get to the quarterback. I mean, if he was doing that consistently, he wouldn't have been a fifth rounder at his size. So as long as he can, use those long arms and that big frame to be disruptive in other ways, maybe he gets on the field sooner rather than later. Brandon Eckles was another standout today, the veteran cornerback from the Jets. Talk about a guy, Ray, who really got lost in the shuffle after signing in that first wave of free agency, because they also brought in Darius Slay, and then certainly once they went out and got Jalen Ramsey, everybody kind of forgot about Eckles, but he made a lot of plays today, and I didn't realize he was so ornery. He was jawing a lot with Calvin Austin, saying, I want you, and then he was talking a lot of junk to Aaron Rodgers, who was his teammate last year with the Jets. So those two have a shared history, and it wasn't anything malicious, but I didn't realize he was that fiery, and Mike Tomlin did not play down his contributions either.
Yeah, it's interesting when guys sign free agent contract, Slay, $10 million a year. I think Eckles came in, if not the vet minimum, maybe a little bit more than that. So you sort of say, okay, he's a depth guy, and what's his role going to be? Is he going to have a role bit? I do think they have plans for him. I think he's probably going to be among their top 4 or 5 corners. He can play inside and outside, so he's going to be a valuable guy on game days when they're trying to put together that defensive lineup.
Yeah, no doubt. And, we'll see. Maybe he's just depth, but you can never have enough bodies at outside corner. We've seen what's happened in years past when James Pierre has to get thrown in there, and it doesn't always go well. So Eckles is someone who's been good through the first 4 days for sure. All right, let's look ahead here at the end, Ray. The pads do go on Tuesday. All of the big-time hitting and the collisions and the pads popping, you will hear if you're lucky enough to be here at St. Vincent College. If you're not, we'll tell you all about it and write all about it. I asked Mike Tomlin what's his most anticipated matchup. I was thinking he'd say Jalen Warren versus Patrick Queen, Mason McCormick versus Derek Harmon in an O-line, D-line one-on-one, but he didn't say that. He didn't say backs on backers. He circled running back Kenny Gainwell and inside linebacker Peyton Wilson. Maybe word got back to Tomlin that Peyton Wilson thinks he's one of the best coverage linebackers on the planet.
Tomlin loves these competition drills. He's going to have a front row seat to backs on backers. He's going to have a front row seat to O-line, D-line one-on-ones whenever they happen on Tuesday. But I think an under the radar drill is those coverage drills where they put those guys in short area spaces, and linebackers have to cover running backs, and cornerbacks have to cover these little shifty slot receivers. So he's looking forward to seeing Peyton Wilson handle that. As if you're a Steeler fan, he's right now an all-down linebacker. They've thrown him in there, and they're going to see if he can handle the pass coverage aspect of it. And so far he's looking pretty good.
And much like the pass protection and the blocking drills, it's difficult sometimes to surmise who was the winner and who was the loser, even more so in those route running, because if you're a linebacker, you're going to have safety help behind you. The offensive player, if they get a pass broken up, they're going to complain that it was PI. So that'll be fun, though. We'll do our best to try to tell you who's coming out on the winning edge of those competitive periods. So make sure you do not miss any of the videos or practice reports next week. For Ray Fittipaldo, I'm Brian Batko. Appreciate you watching us here on the Post-Gazette Sports YouTube channel.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.